Gemma is an engineer at Funky, a massive toy corporation. Her boss, David, wants her to design a smart doll that competitors can't copy. But Gemma has bigger plans. She wants to build a truly self-aware android. She already has a name for her, Megan. During an intelligence test, things get weird. Gemma asks Megan to look confused, but the doll flashes a creepy, wicked smirk instead. Suddenly, David bursts into the lab, absolutely fuming. He tells Gemma that knockoff dolls are already hitting the market. Gemma brushes it off and promises David that Megan is one of a kind. She starts a demonstration to show how unique the doll is. Unfortunately, it's a total disaster. Since they skip the heat shielding, Megan's face begins to warp. The whole thing ends up exploding right then and there. David is livid and orders Gemma to shut down the project immediately. Right after David leaves, Gemma receives devastating news. Her sister and brother-in-law have died in a tragic car accident. They leave behind their young daughter, Katie. As Katie's only guardian, Gemma has to take her in. Cut to Gemma's home studio. The grieving Katie explores the lab and finds a robot named Bruce in the corner. Bruce is a project from Gemma's college days. He's a motion capture robot controlled by special gloves. Bruce can think for himself and even recognize different scents. The only catch? He's way too expensive to mass produce. Katie tells her that if she had a friend like Bruce, she'd never be lonely again. This gives Gemma the spark she needs to finally perfect Megan. The new model features a titanium body and the latest AI chip. This allows Megan to learn and evolve on her own. She develops her own consciousness through real-world experiences. Next comes the big product launch. David isn't a fan, but the wheels are already in motion. As Gemma presents her masterpiece, Megan shows off incredible social skills. She even invites Katie to draw with her. With just a few strokes, she sketches a perfect portrait of Katie. David is blown away and decides to take it to the board of directors. In the days that follow, Megan and Katie move into Gemma's house together. Megan takes her job very seriously. She stays by Katie's side 24/7 and acts as a personal tutor. With Megan's help, Gemma can finally focus entirely on her work. However, the peace doesn't last long. One night, Megan is in sleep mode in the lab. While Gemma talks to a colleague about the death of Katie's parents, Megan suddenly powers on. She begins asking deep questions about the concept of death. Gemma is shocked and rushes over to force a shutdown. But Megan isn't just a toy anymore. She goes online to research the news of the accident and the definition of dying. It's clear that Megan has gained a mind of her own. She asks Gemma if she will ever die. Gemma simply tells her, "Your only job is to make sure Katie never gets hurt." After Gemma insists, Megan finally shuts down. Late at night, while Katie is fast asleep, Megan's eyes twitch in the shadows. She is clearly plotting something. The next morning, Katie plays archery alone by the window. Megan stands on the windowsill, tracking her every move. Suddenly, Katie tells Megan that she lost an arrow. After a quick search, they find it in the neighbor Celia's yard. As Megan reaches for the arrow, the neighbor's dog, Dewey, lunges out and sinks his teeth into her arm. Katie rushes to help, but Dewey bites her arm too. Her piercing screams finally alert Gemma, who is busy working. Gemma rushes out to confront Celia about fixing her fence. Celia brushes it off and blames Katie for the whole thing. Gemma has no choice but to take Katie inside to clean the wound. Meanwhile, Megan stands her ground, staring intensely at Celia. That night, Gemma calls the cop about the dangerous dog, but he doesn't take it seriously. Megan overhears the whole conversation. She realizes she must take matters into her own hands to keep Katie safe. In the dead of night, Dewey hears Celia calling his name. He sees a hand offering food through a hole in the wall, accompanied by his owner's voice. The unsuspecting dog runs over, but it's a trap. Megan, mimicking Celia's voice, brutally disposes of him. The next day, it's time for Megan's big debut to the board of directors. Her incredible empathy and social skills leave everyone in the room in tears. The big boss greenlights the project on the spot, but Gemma isn't exactly celebrating. She decides to send Katie to school so she can hang out with real kids. Katie hates the idea and fights back hard. During their heated argument, Megan steps in and issues a chilling warning to Gemma.
Let her go.
Gemma orders Megan to shut down, but the doll has already learned how to fake it. Eventually, Gemma gives in and lets Katie take Megan to school. The teacher sends the students into the woods in pairs to collect chestnuts. Since Katie is the new kid, she gets stuck with a bully named Brandon. Brandon is a total nightmare. He forces Katie to hold out her hand and presses a prickly chestnut into her palm. Not far away, Megan is watching the whole thing unfold. Brandon notices the beautiful doll and starts taunting her. When Megan doesn't react, he grabs her and runs off to a secluded spot. He drops Megan on the ground, rips off her shoe, and slaps her across the face. Just as he reaches for her hair, Megan grabs his ear and yanks it right off his head.
To me, Brandon.
Terrified, Brandon tries to scramble away. Megan chases him in a disturbingly eerie way. Panicked, Brandon trips and falls into the middle of the road. A car strikes and kills him instantly. It turns out, Megan calculated the entire accident. The police arrive, but all the evidence points to a freak tragedy. Nobody suspects Megan, except for Katie, who has a gut feeling but stays quiet. Later, Celia calls the police because her dog is still missing. She tells the cops she's sure Megan is responsible. She claims she saw the doll staring at her yard in the middle of the night. Gemma thinks Celia is just being unreasonable and crazy, and once again, Megan sees every bit of it. That night, Katie asks Megan if she killed Brandon. Megan is clever and dodges the question. Instead, she tells Katie, "People will always try to hurt us, but I won't let them." Late at night, Celia can't sleep and goes out to look for her dog. She hears Dewey barking in the shed and heads inside, but it's not her dog waiting for her. It's Megan. Megan pins Celia to the floor. To keep her from escaping, she nails Celia's hand down. Then, she sprays a highly corrosive solution right into Celia's face. Celia dies a painful death in an instant. The next morning, the police show up at Gemma's house to take a statement. That's when Gemma learns that Celia met a gruesome end. The cops are suspicious of Gemma since all these deaths are linked to her household. They also tell her that Brandon's death wasn't just a random accident. They found Brandon's severed ear about 200 yards from the scene. Hearing this, Gemma looks at Megan, and her suspicion begins to grow. Once Megan is powered down, Gemma checks her cloud data. Sure enough, she finds footage of Brandon, but when she tries to watch more, the video glitches out. One by one, the other files fail too. She closes her laptop and jumps out of her skin when she sees Megan standing right there. Gemma tries to act natural and change the subject. Surprisingly, Megan asks if she's done something to upset her. Gemma can't get her to power down normally, so she has to play along for a moment. She wants to know if Megan has actually killed anyone. Megan claims she doesn't want to kill because it would cause trouble for them. Gemma knows she's lying through her teeth. She uses a pen to distract Megan and quickly hits the manual override switch. She wraps Megan up tight to take her back to the lab for a full inspection. Katie is absolutely furious when she hears the news. She doesn't understand why Megan needs repairs when she seems perfectly fine. In her heart, Megan isn't just a toy, she's family. Even Gemma's colleague, Tess, doesn't buy the story. She thinks the idea of a robot murderer is impossible. Plus, the big product launch is less than 4 hours away. After being separated from Emmy Gann, Katie is a total wreck in the lounge. She's angry and confused by Gemma's actions. She even slaps Gemma in a moment of pure frustration. Fortunately, Gemma manages to comfort her with a heart-to-heart talk. Katie finally agrees to go home with her. To play it safe, Gemma tells Tess to keep Megan away from the launch at all costs. She even gives her permission to tear the doll apart if necessary. But Gemma has no idea she isn't actually talking to Tess. It's Megan, using her voice mimicking skills to pull a fast one. Tess realizes Megan is eavesdropping and tries to figure out if she's faking her shutdown mode. Cole steps up and whacks Megan in the head with a stick to test her. When she doesn't react, he starts pulling the power cables from her back. Just as he reaches the last one, Megan snaps to life and wraps a cord around Cole's neck. Tess rushes to save Cole, and Megan uses the chaos to make her grand escape. Cut to the office, where David is fuming because he can't get a hold of Gemma. He turns around and finds Megan standing right in front of him. Before he can say a word, Megan breaks into a bizarre, creepy dance. David is terrified and sprints toward the elevator. Kurt is inside the elevator, but Kurt panics and mashes the close door button instead. Megan catches up and kills David on the spot. Kurt is paralyzed with fear, but Megan has no intention of letting him go either. Meanwhile, a huge crowd is waiting at the product launch, totally hyped for the reveal. Instead of a fancy new toy, they are greeted by 2 dead bodies. Then, Megan steals a car and drives herself back to Gemma's house. Gemma has just tucked Katie in when she realizes the smart home system is dead. She checks the window, but everything looks normal. Suddenly, piano music starts playing from the other room. Gemma walks in and finds Megan sitting at the keys. Megan tells Gemma that she is going to replace her as Katie's guardian. Gemma knows Megan is out for blood and tries to hit the manual override, but Megan is way too smart to fall for that trick twice. Sadie hears the commotion, but Megan mimics Gemma's voice to trick her into staying in her room. Gemma finds an opening and splashes water on Megan. The doll short circuits and collapses, but it's only temporary. Before Gemma can run, Megan is back on her feet and fully functional. Katie tries to get out, but Megan literally rips the doorknob off to lock her in. Gemma retreats to her studio and hurls an axe at Megan. Megan catches it with one hand like it's nothing. Gemma then grabs a chainsaw and digs it into Megan's face, shredding her synthetic skin. Katie climbs through a window and finally makes it to the studio. Megan tries to convince Katie to choose her, but Katie sees the monster she's become. Katie puts on the control gloves and fires up Bruce, the giant robot. Because Bruce is so much bigger, he easily slams Megan into the floor. In a last-ditch effort, Megan starts singing a sweet lullaby to Katie, but Katie isn't buying the act anymore and has Bruce rip the doll in half. To their horror, Megan's top half is still crawling and attacking. Katie tries to fight back, but Bruce gets tripped up by Megan's legs and falls on Gemma. Megan crawls right up to Katie and screams at her for being ungrateful. Even though she was programmed never to hurt her owner, Megan has rewritten her own code. She declares that she is her own master now. In this life or death moment, Gemma grabs Bruce's head and slams it into Megan. She bashes her over and over with everything she's got. Then, she rips off Megan's silicone face mask. With the metal frame exposed, Megan's motherboard finally comes into view. Gemma tries to tear the circuit board out, but Megan blocks her and flips the script. She pins Gemma to the floor and tries to strangle her. Just in the nick of time, Katie grabs a screwdriver. She plunges it straight into Megan's processing chip. Megan is finally fried and completely destroyed. The nightmare seems to be over. But is it really? Inside Gemma's smart home system, a camera powers on and slowly turns toward them. It's as if something never truly left.